I just placed top 64 at the first Canadian Gundam Regionals in Ottawa with over 700 players. The format was 10 rounds of best of 1, 30 minutes per round. I ran blue-white justice blockers, the exact same list I've been practicing for the past month. It's a total comfort pick and I knew the deck inside and out, especially against the green-white ramp and blue-green aggro matchup. These were the two most popular deck choices in this format and I wanted to make sure that it was almost impossible for me to lose against these decks. I actually already made a full deck guide on this list, so check it out if you want the breakdown. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the tournament itself, the different matchups that I played, and what I learned from this tournament. So going into round 1, I was actually super nervous. I don't even know why, to be honest. Maybe it's just the pressure of wanting to perform well after preparing so much for this event. I faced red-white justice and I lost right out of the gate. At first, I only saw white cards. So I actually had no idea what I was playing against, and suddenly he drops a red card. Like, bro, what? It was a super grindy blocker mirror stalemate, and he managed to find the exact pilots that he needed to get infinite value off of his Freedom Gundam, which completely just flipped the game for me. That loss really stung because the dream of going undefeated was gone. I made a bunch of silly mistakes because I was afraid of timing out, but this is Gundam TCG. I've never timed out in my life before, and I should just trust myself and play the game. So I shook it off and just focused on the next game. Round 2, I was located at one of the last tables of the event, which were super far away from any of the timers, which was great. I was dialed in and I played my game. But round 2 was such a weird game though. My opponent had a really slow start, so I actually didn't know what he was playing for a bit. When he finally played some cards, it was multiple copies of the green bases to try to draw cards, but by then I had such a strong lead on the board and I won from there. Round 3, I played against my first blue-green aggro player of the event. This was one of those matchups that I was still worried about, even though I practiced a bunch against this matchup, because you can still get high rolled out of the game if you don't find your early pieces. But that did not happen here. I was able to get some strong blockers on the board early and finally stabilize. And when that happens, I'm in a good position. Round 4, I played against another blue-green aggro player, and this one was more chill as I was able to find my early Sword Strike link and Gundam link pretty early for a back-to-back link, and that was just way too strong for my opponent to handle. Feeling pretty good, winning 3 games in a row. What could go wrong, right? Yep, jinxed it. I played against my first red-blue ping in a month. I swear they all died off in my area. In theory, this was supposed to be my best matchup as blue-white blockers, so I just focused my testing against all the other matchups that were closer, like green-white ramp and blue-green aggro. But this round just went horribly. I had a pretty solid curve, but so did my opponent. I played units, but my opponent just had the answer to deal with them instantly. The turning point was when I blocked his 2-2 weenie with my 4-4 ail strike, and he just went for a crazy Kshatriya link that basically won him the game on the spot. Honestly, this loss really hurt because this was supposed to be one of those really good matchups for me, and the thing is, I drew really well, so I just had to admit that I didn't know how to play this matchup properly. My opponent was really chill though. He helped me out on what I could do better, and that was really nice of him. Obviously, we're all here to compete and win it all, but being able to play against really good players and learning from them is super amazing and super valuable. Round 6, I played against another green-white player, and this was such a weird game. My opponent went crazy with his bird modes. We actually saw all 4 of them in this game, and what he ended up doing was playing the bird mode for the EX resource and instantly burning it to link it with the hero Yui to fight for board. This was definitely weaker than linking it with the regular Wing Gundam, so I'm pretty sure he would have loved to see the regular Wing Gundam if he had it, but I think he was just struggling out here. Round 7, I played against my local friend on green-white. This was a bummer because we definitely did not want to face each other. I was kind of worried about this match since I knew he was a strong player, and his deck also included stuff like death sights that were really good into my blue-white deck. It was a grindy game that went back and forth, but eventually I was able to out-resource him by drawing a bunch of cards with 3 show of resolves. Round 8, I faced my first blue-purple of the day. This was a pretty good matchup for me, but my starting hand was super top-end heavy, and my opponent had a super crazy start, going wide with 3 GMs and a resolve. I was lucky enough to draw into some early blockers and stop his early attacks just in time to stabilize. Round 9, I played against my 4th Wing 0 player of the event. It was another close game, and my opponent was able to use 2 Wing Gundam Zeros to clear my board multiple times. But each time he did, I was able to answer it with Justice Gundam, re-establishing my board instantly. I was able to kill the 2 Wing Zeros and eventually out-resource him. I actually don't remember how I was feeling up to this point. I was was just focusing on one game at a time and playing my best for each of them. And before I realized it, I went on a tear from winning 4 games in a row to go from 3-2 to 7-2. So round 10, we had one more final round to play, and I hit my 5th and final green-white player. I was pretty confident going into this matchup as it was my most practiced matchup during testing, and I was doing pretty well against it so far. So I don't know if I got nervous because it was the last round or if I knew I was playing for top 32, but I decided to keep a pretty mediocre hand. It was playable with blockers, but the curve was actually super awkward and it never really got better. And eventually my opponent was able to set up a winged Gundam with Kira, which I couldn't deal with, and it just got infinite value and it just absolutely carried the game. I ended the 10 rounds with a record of 7-3, placing top 64. I expected to hit a lot of green-white ramp decks, and I definitely did, hitting 5 of them at this event. I went 4-1 against them, which was really solid. I also went 2-0 against blue-green aggro, and 1-0 against blue-purple. Then I lost twice into 2 different red decks, so maybe I need to start testing against red a bit more for next time. I think what went best for this event was my preparation. I grinded 30 games into the green-white ramp matchup and 30 plus games into the blue-green aggro matchup, and it paid off. In total, I went 6-1 into these matchups combined. My mental game was a bit shaky though after the first loss, but once I reminded myself that there's no ties in Gundam and just to play at my own pace, I started performing way better. Decklist wise, I was super happy with it. I would definitely run it again. Naval Bombardment overperformed this weekend and it caught so many green-white players off guard, giving me great trades. And my early blockers also did their jobs against aggro, and I always felt like I could play the game. Overall, I'm really happy with how the event went. I learned a lot, played some amazing matches, and I proved to myself that with the right preparation, I can compete at this level. Next time, I'll be aiming even higher.